don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Hey team, hope you're all doing well. Today's topic, I wanted to go over the question, does 5K times translate to 800 meters? And I was recently asked this particular question by Ascot7868, who said, does 5K times translate to 800 meters? I'm doing a lot of endurance work, focusing on the 5K, but going to really focus on the 800 meter during track season. And I certainly do think that the 5K does translate into the fast 800 meter, because the faster you can get over these middle distance races, the stronger you're going to be when it comes to really working on your raw speed. And you have to have that speed and stamina in events like the 800 meter and the 400 meter. So the faster you can get in, say, like the 3K, the 5K distances, the better off you're going to be. I mean, the V.02 calculator that I always reference, just for an athlete going after, like, say, a 16:15 5K, that particular time equates to a 1600 in 441. Now, it doesn't show what it equates to for an 800 meter, but I would guess probably around 222 to maybe 218 to 222 for the 800 meter. So then again, that's for an athlete trying to go after a time, for example, 16:15. But yeah, I do think that they do have. I do think a solid 5K can translate into a very strong 800 meter. Another example of that is my nephew Brock. Brock ran 14:51 for 5,000 meters on the track last year, and ended up running 1:57 for 800 meters last year as a junior. Now he's a senior going into a senior year now. He's just finishing up. He's got a couple more races here for cross country. He's aiming for the NCAA national championships, and he's running low to mid 25s, and he's really in shape to get closer down toward 25 flat, or even possibly under if everything goes perfectly. But he already has a personal best of 25:37 for 8K, but he's also got that speed. And I think that the faster you can really focus on in your particular event here, aiming for the 5K and getting stronger in these longer races is going to set you up for success for a faster 800 meter, because these athletes, the best 800 meter athletes in the world, a lot of them train like marathoners. A lot of them are doing long runs. They're doing faster long runs. They're training in big groups over in Kenya and Ethiopia and other parts of the world. Japan is another big country for athletes that are running very fast on the track and on the roads, and also are changing up their race distances like this. And again, the faster you can get over 3,000 meters or 5,000 meters, you're going to be so much more dangerous when it comes to 800 meters, because the athletes that are just focusing on speed and are neglecting the endurance aspect, maybe they're not running as far for their long runs, maybe they're not jumping into some of these races that maybe they're not really as comfortable going after, or maybe that aren't really as much of their focus. Maybe they're more focused on 400 meter to 800 meters, and they really don't want to jump in a 5K or even a 10,000 meters. One of the mistakes I made as a high school athlete going into college is never running another 400 meter or 800 meter after I ran in high school. I ran 53.4 for 400 meters in high school, and I ran 2 flat for 800 meters in high school. But I never ran the 400 and 800 in college. And looking back now, I wish I would have focused on that, because so much of my focus was on the 3K, the 5K, 8K, and cross country. I really wasn't placing my emphasis on really getting faster in these shorter races, especially the 800 meters. And a lot of athletes are doing the exact opposite. They're focusing more on, I'm just going to focus on the event that I am the very best at, and I'm not going to really spend too much of my time in these longer races. Okay, so in your case, I think what you're doing, focusing on running a faster 5K, and then as the outdoor track season comes, you're going to focus more on the 800 meter. I think that's a good approach, because if you're jumping in cross country races, or if you're jumping in some 5Ks on the roads, or running some indoor races where you run the indoor 3000 or indoor 5000, that is going to make you so much stronger, I think, over 800 meters versus the athlete that's just really spending all their time and emphasis specifically on the event that they have their eyes on, they're focused on. Okay, it's the same mistake I made. I mean, I was really focused more on 3K and 5K when I was in college, and the 8K, but I never really thought about, well, why not try to get that 400 meter time down to maybe high 50, low to mid 51s, and let's try to get that 800 time down to maybe like 154 to 156 range. Now I don't really know what I could have done, because I never did that. Okay, I was zoned in on these events that I felt was better suited for me, and genetically, if I had a muscle biopsy done on me, I'd probably have a much, maybe 98% slow twitch and maybe 2% fast twitch. Okay, and I think that a lot of us, we get so caught up in the events that we want to run and we think we're better suited for, and maybe we are better suited for those events, but it's also good to get out of your comfort zone and run some events that you're not accustomed to, that you're not really you're unsure about. Okay, with me, I wish I would, like I said, I wish I would have jumped in some 800s and ran some 400s and 800s, even some Ks. Every once in a while, the indoor races in college, they'll run the 1,000 meters. Rarely do they do that outdoors, but most of the time they do run some thousands indoors. Those are some things I wish I would have done. So with you, what you're doing, I think that yes, the 5K does translate into the 800 meter. A lot of 800 meter athletes can move up and can do very well in the 5K. A lot of world champions in the 800 meter and Olympic level athletes that mainly focus on the 800 meters can move up to the 5,000 meters as well. But a lot of athletes that are focusing on the 5,000 meter first and trying to run as fast as they possibly can in those mid-distance events, once you drop down and you try to go after 800 meter, I think because you've spent some additional time maybe thinking outside the box in terms of your preparation, doing some longer tempo runs, doing some longer long runs, thinking like those world-class 800 meter athletes who a lot of times are out there doing their long runs with the distance runners. So I do think this is a good approach for you for your success as an 800 meter athlete, looking at running as fast as you can and being as competitive as you can, and focusing on the 5,000 meters leading into your indoor season. And then as outdoor season starts, then focus more on, like you mentioned, like the 800 meter, 1,500 meter, or the mile. Okay, so I think that you're doing the right thing. Continue to focus on the other fundamentals that really go into being a successful middle to long distance runner, and that's really just being tenacious about what you're doing, finding enthusiasm and not losing enthusiasm for what you're doing. If you can continue to find the joy for what you're doing as an athlete, and not place so much stress on yourself, I think the likelihood of you succeeding is going to skyrocket. Okay, a lot of athletes, they are way too tense, they're way too stressed out, and we place too much emphasis on trying to run specific times instead of focusing on, okay, I want to do the very best I can in these workouts, try to stay consistent with my mileage, but enjoy what I'm doing. Okay, because as soon as you start getting too tense mentally and too tense physiologically, your performance suffers. Okay, so I hope this video is helpful for all of you that are wondering, does the 5K translate to the 800 meter? And can you go from a 5K and be a successful 800 meter athlete? I think so. I definitely think so, because again, you're focusing more on building that strength and stamina that you're still going to need in the 800 meter. Okay, so if you have any other questions, leave a comment below. I'll reach back out to you and respond. If you're trying to take your training and racing to the next level, feel free to check the resources below these videos or on RunDreamAchieve.com. They're definitely there to help you get to the next level.